On the corner of Addison and Clark lies Wrigley Field, built 1914. And as Tim Ring told you a few moments ago, the only stadium older in all of baseball is Fenway Park, built 2 years earlier in 1912. 90th year that the Cubs have played here at Wrigley Field. Jamie Quirk talking to Matt Holliday. Again, Clint Hurdle will be back with the club beginning tomorrow. In fact, last word we had is he was on a flight to Chicago this afternoon. And most importantly, his daughter Madison is doing better, and she is resting at home. Here's the lineup today, brought to you by Mako. Rockies trying to snap a 3-game slide, all 3 losses in Milwaukee. Clint Barmas will be at shortstop. Desi Relaford at second base. Todd Helton will bat third. Preston Wilson cleanup. Brad Hopp had a double in yesterday's ball game. One of the 4 hits the Rockies had. Barmas had 2 of the 4. Holiday in left field. Todd Green behind the plate for the 8th time in the last 11 ball games. And Garrett Atkins at third, along with Jennings on the mound, hitting 9th. Facing one of the game's best young arms in Carlos Zambrano. See all this stuff up top? Forget about that phrase. This is what always gets my attention.
It always does. The home runs, they're down. The strikeouts, he doesn't walk many. He doesn't beat himself that way, and he will knock you flat on your can and let you see the sky. He's a guy that not afraid to pitch inside, has constantly been kicked out of ball games, has been fined by the National League. He's a very tough kid and an aggressive kid on the hill.
And he will not be 24 until June 1st. That's pretty frightening.
You know, you compare the young pitching staffs. Florida with their very young pitching staff, well, the Cubs obviously with Wood, Pryor, and Zambrano, very young also.
Kerry Wood is throwing a little bit, and they hope to have him back inside of 3 weeks. We'll see if that works out. Kerry Wood has been unable to stay healthy for extended periods. Zambrano threw a 2-hit shutout at the Rockies last year at Wrigley. This is on the ground at Todd Walker. If you hit the ball on the ground at Wrigley Field and get a clean hop, which, you know, is a question mark. You played here, George. This is not a good infield, but it is a slow infield.
Absolutely it is. Tall grass makes it difficult to field the ball cleanly on a consistent basis. The infield's always hard here. The red clay that you see on the mound and the home plate area create a lot of high hops and a lot of top spin.
Desi Relaford getting a start at second base. Desi will play quite a bit at second base, and also you'll see Luis Gonzalez at second base over the next couple of weeks. Aaron Miles, who is battling that muscle strain in the back region, aggravated it yesterday, came out of the ball game in the 6th inning in Milwaukee, and they have decided to shut him down for a couple of weeks and get the thing 100% healthy. So Miles is with the club, and Eddie Garabito was brought up. He was hitting over 300 at AAA Colorado Springs. Garabito had a very good spring, George. We were in Tucson for a good portion of spring training. Garabito opened some eyes. 9-year minor league veteran, signed out of the Baltimore Orioles organization. And Garabito can play a little bit. He'll be the 12th rookie to play this year for the Rockies. When he makes his big league debut, he can play second and short. In fact, Garabito is primarily playing shortstop.
Now back a little bit on Aaron Miles with the injury yesterday. Heard it on a swing, first strikeout for Zambrano. Heard it on a swing, then also on a ball back up the middle.
Let's take a look at the gloves today behind Carlos Zambrano. In the outfield, Hollinsworth, Patterson, and Burnett. So 2 former Rockies there on the corners. Armas Ramirez at third base. Nafi Perez and Todd Walker, the double play combination, formerly with the Rockies. Derek Lee having an extraordinary year at first base, and Michael Barrett's behind the plate.
Yeah, you look at this lineup of the Garabito, happy to be in the uniform. Got here late last night from the Colorado Springs Ball Club. When you look at the ball club for the Chicago Cubs, it's somewhat shocking. You look out, Walker at second, Nafi, Hollinsworth in left, 3 of the 8 starters, former Rockies. And very productive Rockies, 4 of them, excuse me. Burnett's in right.
Stick Henry Blanco back there, George, make it 5.
Well, he'd been doing a lot of the catching when Michael Barrett was down and needed a rest with a sore shoulder. Always has been able to catch and throw, one of the best.
What's kept him around the big leagues so long.
Yeah, it's amazing when he goes back to his native country and plays winter ball. He plays third base. He was originally a third baseman. Mike Socia flipped him behind the plate when he was in the Dodger organization. Socia, AAA manager at the time.
And Michael Barrett was originally a third baseman. He was made a catcher by a member of the Rockies organization right now, Bill Guyvet, who's the right-hand man to Dan O'Dowd when Guyvet was working for the Montreal Expos. That's why Barrett wears equipment these days. 2-out walk to Helton. That'll bring Wilson up. There's Henry Blanco. Boy, it's always a joy to be here at Wrigley Field. It's one of the places, George, that you just really look forward to going to as a broadcaster. And I know you look forward to coming here as a broadcaster, but certainly when you played here, that had to be a great thrill. It
is a great thrill. Cub fans are wonderful. I mean, these are a group of people nationwide that adore the Chicago Cubs. They adore the fact of what they've done as a ball club in recent years, where they've started to win again, and it's starting to hold on to that hope of getting to a World Series sometime.
Ground ball to Nafee, who flips to Walker, and the Rockies are done offensively in the top of the first inning. We'll come back to Wrigley Field. Jason Jennings will have the baseball this afternoon. Gather round the good stuff. And by Dodge. Grab life by the horns. Well, Jason Jennings typically warms up quickly, and he has done that already. So Nafee Perez stepping into the box. We're ready to go in the bottom of the first inning. Rockies all time at Wrigley Field. This is amazing. They own the best record in the history of Wrigley Field for an opponent, 28-25. Next on the list, and of course the Rockies haven't been around that long, but next on the list, the Arizona Diamondbacks.
It doesn't matter,
14 and 13.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, though, whether you've been around a long time or not. This is a tough park to come in and play in when you're a visiting ball club because of the fans and the rowdiness. Jeff Francis said, I've never been called so many different things running in the outfield. He said, Harry, I couldn't get by him one time.
He had to bring a dictionary with him.
Yeah,
Jeff's a smart guy.
Yeah. He wasn't used to hearing those kind of things. Well, Jennings made some adjustments in between his last start. He threw twice on the side, trying to gain control, the rhythm in his delivery. Hopefully that'll pay dividends as far as throwing strikes.
Slowly hit. Helton with an option pitch to Jason Jennings. Todd used to be a bit of an option quarterback, good enough to play at the University of Tennessee. And they just did get Nafee Perez at first. Let's check the rest of the lineup today, brought to you by Mako. Todd Walker at second base. Derek Lee will bat in the 3-hole. He's having an MVP kind of year so far. Jeremy Brunitz will bat cleanup. Aramis Ramirez off to a slow start. Corey Patterson has plenty of pop for a diminutive guy in center field. Then Hollingsworth, Barrett, and Carlos Zambrano, who can swing the bat. Two good hitting pitchers in this ball game. A little easier play this time for Helton as he goes underhand to Jennings. And there are 2 outs as Derek Lee will get ready to come up. 10th start this year for Jason Jennings. The walks, the most allowed so far in the National League, and that's been part of the problem.
Absolutely, it has been. I think that's been a majority of the problem, and I think the fact of 0-2, 1-2 counts have been a problem for Jennings because he has not had the put-away pitch, the pitch to put hitters away with ground balls or the strikeouts. Catch too much of the plate.
Derek Lee takes ball 1. Home plate umpire, a friend of ours, Bob Davidson. And the sinker goes low, 2-0. Rob Drake is working first base. There's a good look at Bob. Mike Riley at second, the crew chief, and Andy Fletcher at third base. And Derek Lee hits it hard, straightaway center field and deep. And Wilson gets twisted around and makes the catch. Good play by Preston Wilson on a ball driven to the deepest part of the park by Derek Lee. No score. We move to inning number 2. No score. We go to the top of the second inning. Along with George Frazier, I'm Drew Goodman. Tim Ring has made the trip to Chicago. We'll check with Tim in a few moments. Brad Hopp will step in against hard-throwing Carlos Zambrano. This guy's a horse, George. He threw 136 pitches 3 starts ago.
And it won't affect him either. I mean, this is a kid that you look at him, his upper body's just huge. You look at guys with wide shoulders, they're typically hard throwers. He's got very broad shoulders. He's starting to learn to not have to be 100% power. You look at the number in a no decision versus the White Sox. 1 hit, 3 walks, and 8 strikeouts. Those games played here at Wrigley Field, so the DH not in effect, and Dusty chose to use a pinch hitter to try to win the ball game.
Here's the 2-1 to Hop. And he rolls one to the first baseman, Derek Lee. And let's find Tim Ring. I think he's down the right field line. Tim?
Indeed I am, Drew. I can reach out and touch the right field foul pole right here. The bleachers are out there, of course, at Wrigley Field. Drew, if you want to come to the game to watch baseball only, you sit in the box seats. If you want more than the game, of course, you go to the bleachers. The sun and the fun, second to none in Major League Baseball. Problem is, Drew, the Cubs figured that out. And tickets, which used to be $1 when I was a kid, $3 when I was in high school, are now $40 face value. Talked to a scalper earlier today. For weekend games, they can get upwards of $150 per ticket to go sit in the bleachers. There is no doubt it is the place to be, and certainly no doubt anymore Cubs management has figured that out.
Comebacker Zambrano handles it, and they'll throw out Matt Holliday. Tim, very quickly, what you had told me in previous conversations about your misspent youth in Chicago, where's that fence that you used to hop over to get the free Cub game?
It's actually right down over here.
Is that how you used to get in, right over there?
Exactly right over here. It's funny, is the reason why I'm not out in the bleachers, Drew, right now doing this report is because the Cubs have forbidden cameras and microphones to go out into the bleachers, despite it being early in today's game. I think there is a fear of embarrassment on behalf of the Cubs and the Cub fans.
Well, that goes back to the dictionary of profanity that now Jeff Francis has to carry around, so he knows what people are
exactly right.
saying to him.
You know, remember Harry Carey, Drew, used to do a game a year out in the bleachers. I don't think they do that anymore.
That was interesting.
Yes, indeed.
All right, Tim, we'll check back with you periodically. 0-2 very quickly on Todd Green. Greeny kind of battling that same sinus flu-like malady that's going through the club. Preston Wilson was bothered by that for a couple of days.
Not going to allow that to keep him out of the ball game either. I mean, he's just one of those guys that's a gamer, loves to play, loves to be a part of it. And I think the Rockies feel right now, with Glosser's struggles offensively and defensively, that even with a guy like Zambrano on the mound today, they'll go with the right-handed power, hoping that Todd Green could catch one, plus his leadership behind the plate.
In the air, right side. Easy play for Derek Lee. Shades his eyes from the sun. And it's a 1-2-3 inning in the second for Carlos Zambrano. Burnitz, Ramirez, and Patterson for the Cubs when we come back. Cubs come in 21-23. The Rockies right now 13-31 as we go to the bottom of the second inning. Hey, if Jason Jennings mows down 3 in a row, strikes out the side in order during this inning, Kathy Kinney from Inglewood will win a Steel FS45 lawn trimmer. To enter, just email your name, age, address, and phone number to contest@fsnrm.com. 1-0 on Jeremy Burnitz. Solid 277 average with 7 home runs and 26 driven in. He stays off the sinker. It's 2-0. Last year, 37 home runs, 110 RBIs, and a 283 average for Burnitz in a Rockies uniform. On the outfield grass, Desi Relaford. A lot of ground balls so far in this ball game. 1 out. Ramirez will check in. Here are the gloves today in the outfield. As you look at Brad Hop, Wilson and Holliday join Hop. Left side of the infield, 2 rookies. Garrett Atkins, Clint Barmas, Desi Relaford at second base, Todd Helton at first base. So the 30-plus crowd on the right side, the kids on the left side. Todd Green is behind the plate, turned 34 a couple weeks ago. Greeny, the oldest member of the Colorado Rockies, and that's not that old.
No, it is not that old. Very young ball club, aggressive ball club, and I think once they realize the fact that playing together, challenging each other, that the results will be much better.
A single run offensively in each of the last 3 ball games for the Rockies, and over the last 9 days their high water mark is 4 runs. So they're due to break out.
I think in Milwaukee they scored a run on a home run by Hop, an error by Overbay at first, and on a buck.
Not pretty. 1-2 on Ramirez. Strike 3 on the outside corner. Bob Davidson calls Ramirez out, and he stares back at Davidson. He'll take the slow walk to the dugout. First strikeout of the ball game for Jennings.
Good slider that's going to move from the outside corner and very tight and framed brilliantly by Green. See, Green's glove doesn't move an awful lot. That ball's not high. It's just fooled Ramirez in the punch out.
Well, here's a talented young player coming up. Corey Patterson. And Patterson drags a bunt. Jennings won't be able to get him.
And lost his footing in this grass. Otherwise, he could flip it to Helton, have that opportunity just to be able to get the out. Got to the ball in plenty of time, lost his footing. He breaks off of the mound very well because he falls to the first base side typically. See, he gets to this baseball, glances at Helton, realizes he can't get it, and as he goes to get the baseball, the feet got in the way in the grass. And right here, lost his footing, tried to flip it to Helton, just not in time. Great speed of Patterson.
He's 4 of 6 in stolen bases.
Now, like people yesterday at the ball game in Milwaukee, their base runner stole 3 bases against Todd Green and the pitching staff. More on the pitching staff though than Todd Green. High leg kicks. You see him inch it off as if he was about to go.
Well, I tell you what, if you're an opposition manager right now and you have decent speed at first, with the inability the Rockies have displayed to hold runners this year and throw runners out, you're going to be aggressive. If you're not doing your homework.
You should be aggressive. Patterson, as he gets his lead, continues to try to get a little deeper lead to get off. And it's that first move that he sees by Jennings, with that front left foot off and running. Dusty Baker not afraid to be aggressive as a manager. Just looking for a healthy ball club to try to win some ball games. Watch that shoulder lean. You know, as a pitcher, when you look over, it's very important. And a lot of people don't realize this. The right side of your body for a right-handed pitcher is overdeveloped because of all the throwing. So it's much easier to look over the left shoulder. The muscles aren't as tight on that side. And what you're glancing and using peripheral vision just to see if you can catch a shoulder lean. Just catch the shoulder moving a little bit towards the second base side to where they have to redirect. Good pitch by Jennings.
Atkins in foul territory, and the Rockies head to the dugout. So Zambrano's been on his game. Jennings has been very good so far. No score, top of inning number 3. Diamond Shamrock Diamond details on Wrigley Field. As we told you, built in 1914. Fenway is the only park older. Seats now just under 40,000. Left field is inviting. It's really left center and right center that's inviting. Left field down the line is 355. You got to catch one to hit it out. And originally it was known as Wegman Park. Built on grounds once occupied by a seminary. Garrett Atkins will lead things off, then Jennings in the top of the order. That fastball runs inside.
Well, this is the only ballpark too with the ivy in center field. There's no padding here. I mean, the ivy's the padding. So outfielders, when you run into it, you just hope they watered early and it grows fast, because otherwise you got cement bricks all the way around the outfield wall. And those doors in the outfield that you're looking at there, those are storage bins. There's no storage here. And in the right field corner is their underneath cage to take batting practice.
I'll tell you something else about the ivy that, George, obviously you're well aware of, but if you come here in April and really the first part of May, there isn't much ivy at all because it's dead. It hasn't grown yet. I shouldn't say it's dead, but it's dormant.
Right.
And now it's
full blown.
It's full blown, but it's not nearly as full as it will be in the summer months. And I had an interesting conversation with a couple members of the grounds crew last year. They said it's a 2-2 inside 3-2. They'll take brooms periodically and they'll kind of rake the ivy, fluff the ivy, and they will find numerous baseballs.
Oh, all the time.
From
you
batting
do.
practice.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, that's
why get stuck in there.
That's a lot of times you'll see balls hit into the gap that bounce up into the ivy and it doesn't come back out. It just swallows it. But that's typically later in the summer, July on, that happens when it gets really thick in that outfield. That happens a lot when a ball gets into the outfield. And of course, a lot of the other things here in this ballpark. Nafee with a ball in the hole.
Good hands by Nafee. Was not an easy hop, and he throws out Garrett Atkins. Jason Jennings comes up. He has 2 home runs in his career, 1 a year ago against Greg Maddux. Into the bleachers at Wrigley Field. He picks his spots to hit him out. Shea Stadium in his debut. An historic Wrigley Field last year.
Well, against Greg Maddux, a 300-game winner, too.
Yeah, you bet. On the outside corner for a strike. Well, Zambrano and Jennings, 2 of the best hitting pitchers in baseball. Jennings so far this year, well below what he normally does. He hits this one right at Todd Walker. Everything on the ground so far against Carlos Zambrano. That is his 6th ground out in his first trip through the order. The only ball hit in the air was a Todd Green pop-up. Two outs. Clint Barmes, who hit the ball on the ground to Walker as well. 2 for 4 yesterday. Barmes ended an 0 for 17 slide over his last couple of ball games. 3 for 6. Single and a double yesterday. The Rockies on this trip have been 3 hit twice and 4 hit once. The 4-hitter yesterday. Overall, they're hitting just 179 on this trip, averaging slightly more than 2 runs a game. Puts a whole lot of pressure on your pitching staff when you're scoring 2 runs an outing.
Has it been so long since the Rockies have had a cushion to start a ball game, to where maybe a starting pitcher had 3 runs given to him, to where he could feel comfortable to make 1 mistake in a ball game and not have it cost him the ball game.
Slider is down low.
Well, one thing that Zambrano has shown me just in his 2 2/3 innings that he's worked is how he has changed speeds from 84 to 88 to 95 with his fastball.
Right there, he really changed speeds.
66 miles an hour with the breaking ball. Yet he can go back and get it. He's thrown 5 fastballs at 95. See the numbers there. First pitch strikes, 5 out of his total of 10 batters faced so far.
97 on that fastball. I'll tell you something else I like about him. Watch Zambrano. He catches the baseball, George. He's not a big guy to pick up the rosin bag, kick the rubber. He gets right back on the rubber and is ready to go. In fact, right now he's waiting on Bob Davidson to retrieve a baseball. Zambrano, dominant numbers. 2 and 2. Fastball away at 97. 3 and 2. Barmes has gotten back on track, being patient at the plate, a little more selective, and he works out a walk. With 2 outs, he goes to first, just the second base runner against Zambrano. Todd Helton had a 2-out walk in the first. Relaford struck out his first plate appearance against Zambrano. Desi, one of the few guys on the Rockies actually hitting well on the road. Barmes hitting well on the road. Here's the breakdown for you. Cubs had their 3-game winning streak snapped yesterday, a 4-1 loss to Houston. For Houston, just their 3rd road win of the year. So the Cubs back-to-back playing the 2 poorest road teams in baseball. The Astros an inexplicable 3-21 on the road, and the Rockies entered play today 3-20 away from home. Mackey beat Maddux yesterday, and Maddux was very good for 7 innings. Gave just 2 runs in 7 innings, but ended up taking the loss. Maddux now 2 and 3.
Yeah, a lot
he
of
may struggle, George, to get his 15 wins this year for the 7th 17 straight times.
I don't think so. And the reason I say he can get on a roll, and yesterday to listen to his catcher Michael Barrett say this is the best stuff he's had all year. This is about the time it all kicks in. With 23 starts to go, obviously he's got to win 13 of those 23, and he's very capable of doing that.
This ball lined towards center field, and it will drop. And Barmes around third gets a green light. Patterson had trouble with it momentarily. Barmes will score. Relaford at second, and the Rockies have a 1-0 lead. Desi Relaford coming through.
8th RBI for Relaford, and a guy typically that he goes to the opposite field more than he will pull the baseball against a power pitcher like Zambrano. You can see that they set up away, but the ball stays middle half in. Patterson indecisive on whether to go and dive for the baseball or to let the ball bounce. And once it bounced with the speed of Barmes, there's no chance you're going to have a play on him at the plate because of the way he cut the bag to get there.
Well, fouls it off.
Drew, I'm going to tell you a funny story today, and we've shared it a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and say it on air. Today I threw $20 on the table and said, everybody, first RBI, you get 20 bucks. Tom Kelly used to do it with the Twins, but with a $100 bill. And I said, you have to put the 20 in to match. All 9 guys in the lineup threw 20 in. It's not the money, it's the pride factor of saying, I won the pot. Well, Desi Relaford with an RBI early. That pot's history in the third. Good to see it. And a lot of times when a team's struggling like that, and if you go back to the '87 team with the Twins, they couldn't win on the road. They were horrible on the road. That's what Kelly always used to do to try to motivate guys, see if they could get them pumped up a little bit. You know, Relaford, obviously, the one guy you'd look in the lineup and say hitting second, that he probably wouldn't have that opportunity to win that in the pride factor, but he does. Sometimes you just challenge guys, and Davey Collins took the lead on all of that, took off with it as first base coach, and trying to get guys fired up, get them going a little bit.
Well, it's worked out early. Nice idea, Frase.
Well, I just challenged some guys. You look back in history, what made teams click that you played on, and what you participated in, and what would motivate guys to perform. And sometimes you can pass that on, whether you're in uniform or you're not in uniform, but pass it on to fire some people up occasionally.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Helt. Jamie Quirk again running the club today. To reiterate, Clint Hurdle will be back managing tomorrow. And Zambrano fans Helt on the outside corner. Rockies come up with a run, a walk to Barmes, Relaford with a double. Jason Jennings warming up very fast again, and he missed one pitch, was fouled straight back, so it's 0-1 on Michael Barrett. I think Barrett's one of the better offensive catchers in the game. Swung on and missed. Barrett last year 16 home runs. He had more than 30 doubles. Hit above 280 last year, and his numbers this year solid, 274 with 4 home runs. 0-2 slider, and Barrett gets his bat to it.
I like the pitch selection by Jennings, off the plate and out of the strike zone. And we talked early in this ball game about the mistakes made 0-2-1-2. That wasn't a very hittable pitch.
Barrett last year at 287, his best offensive number. He came up with the Expos. And he drives this down the right field line, and it is a fair ball. Hop does a good job getting to it. Now his throw to second is not quite in time. Tell you what, Brad Hop has more 200-foot throws that he puts within about 2 feet each time. I mean, he throws strikes all over the diamond.
Watch how he plays the wall, too. He hasn't been in this ballpark, so he plays it right off of the wall perfectly, able to glove it and then get his momentum right to the back. Off line about 5 feet, but again, showing and displaying a very strong arm and an accurate arm.
I mean, from that distance, that wasn't that far off line. Zambrano squares around, and he misses the bunt.
And you watched how Barrett slid, too. He slid to the infield side of the bag to extend the tag that Barmas would have had to try to get him.
Kid at the plate, Carlos Zambrano, the 23-year-old, a .211 lifetime hitter with 3 home runs. Well, now he's going to get to do what he prefers to do, and that's swing, perhaps. We'll see what Chris Spire, the third base coach, gives him. They may have him bunt again, trying to move the runner. Pretty good shortstop in his day, former Giant Chris Spire. Line drive center field. Wilson grabs it. Zambrano hit it on the button. Preston Wilson was playing relatively shallow. 1 out. Let's check in again with Tim Ring. Tim, where art thou?
Drew, I am actually out of the ballpark, but you know what? A characteristic unique to Wrigley Field, the rooftops across the street on Sheffield and Waveland Avenue. I am high above the rooftop on Sheffield, the Sheffield side. Fans used to gather out here and watch, and all of a sudden the guys who own these buildings said, you know what, this might not be a pretty bad business idea, including my man Tom here, who owns not 1 but 3 rooftops.
Yep. People have actually been up here since day 1 in 1914. The buildings actually precede the ballpark, but it's turned into a much bigger business, obviously.
Right, you own all the buildings too, the roof. Okay. Now you guys rent these out on a game-by-game basis. What does that cost somebody who wants to rent out a rooftop?
It ranges anywhere from like $100 per head up to $200 per head, and includes all food and drinks throughout the game.
Let me tell you, from our camera vantage point, you guys can only see the bleachers here and people milling around, but back here, I mean, it is a full out. Like, no other way to put it. You got a whole bar. You got like a nightclub back there.
Correct. Yeah, you got sunshine. You've got an enclosed space. You've got your own bathrooms right there. The food's right there. Your own bleachers, obviously. And you're closer here than you're closer to home plate here than you are in the center field bleachers.
Well, there you go. Again, something unique to Wrigley Field, the rooftop bleachers. Drew, back to you and George. I tell you what, it's not a bad vantage point. You can see the entire field from up here, including deep center.
Tim, is this your last report for the day?
I'm done for the day, guys. It's been a pleasure.
I had a feeling. Fielder's choice. Nice play by Desi Relaford to throw out Nafi Perez. Todd Walker, 2 outs, and Michael Barrett at third base. Rockies up 1-0 in the third against the Cubs. Walker just came off the disabled list yesterday. He's had a knee problem. And he'll split time with Jerry Hairston at second base. Hairston can also play the outfield. Hairston was part of the Sosa deal. And the Baltimore Orioles. Walker, a second baseman with pop in his bat. And a line drive, base hit, and he just tied it up. Just the 4th RBI this season for Walker. Barrett trots to the dugout. 1-1.
And a happy sight for Dusty Baker to have his left-handed bat back in the lineup, hitting second behind whoever he leads off. Today it's Nafi. A very good fastball hitter, a guy that has always swung the bat well, as he did with the Rockies, the Red Sox. Early in his career, the Minnesota Twins.
Derek Lee lines in right field. Hop will have to play it on a hop. Third hit in the inning. First and second, Burnitz.
Yes, as much as finishing off hitters, finishing off innings. With 2 outs, all the damage happening.
Jeremy Burnett's been around this game for a while. He's got a new number in Chicago. He wears number 3 on his back. That is for the most famous 3 of all, Babe Ruth, and he has the socks pulled up, not only paying homage to Babe Ruth, but paying homage to the guy at first base for the Rockies, Todd Helton. Said he always admired Helton, and then getting to play with them last year. He wanted to copy the way Helton always wears his socks, kind of old school style. And he said having played with Helton last year, he has even greater respect for Todd. So the 3 on his back, Babe Ruth. The socks pulled up because of Todd Helton. 0-2, and that's inside on Burnitz. That's pretty special when somebody who's had the success that Burnitz has had in the game, actually been around longer at the big league level than Helton, is honoring a guy, a contemporary.
Well, Todd, a guy that sets the standard very high and the bar very high, and I think other players, no matter how long they've played, respect a player of that stature.
Strike 3. Burnitz punched out. So Jennings gives up 3 hits and a run in the 3rd. 1-1 as we go to inning number 4 at Wrigley Field in Chicago. Taco Bell game reset in the 3rd inning. Desi Relaford with 2 outs and Clint Barmas at first. A double to center field. Barmas comes around 1-0, but the Cubs would get it back. 2-out single for Todd Walker. That scored Michael Barrett, who had doubled. And you're up to date, 1-1. Bring your friend to the ballpark. Why not? What's that guy's? That's Guido. Of course it is. You have to put a seatbelt on him. Preston Wilson against Zambrano. 3 hops at Nafi Perez. 7th ground out induced by Zambrano. He has 2 strikeouts. 1 out in the 4th inning. The Cubs starting rotation has been on a bit of a roll. Their rotation, 6 straight ball games that the starter has worked at least 7 innings. First time that's happened since the year 2000. If Zambrano works into the 8th today, it'll be the first time they've had 7 in a row where the starter's gone at least 7 innings since 1972. Hop rolls it at Derek Lee. He has Gold Glove hands, and he flips to Zambrano. 2 outs. Here's what's on tap tomorrow at noon on the FSN. We have about a 20-minute pregame show for you, and then no television Saturday, Sunday on UPN 20, and then the Cardinals come a-calling 5:30 and 6:30 FSN. The pregame reports those nights. That's brought to you by Bud Light. All right, George, you know who was on that staff in '72 when they actually produced the record of 10 straight?
Ferguson
Most recent
Jenkins.
record. Yep, Fergie Jenkins, obviously.
1972.
One guy who pitched for a long time, and we mentioned him from time to time. Good hitter, good fielder, bad body.
Rick Russell.
Rick Russell. Holiday takes a ball.
Trying to think who the left-hander was at that time.
Want me to give him to you now?
Yeah, go ahead. I thought I did pretty good.
You did. All right, I'll give you one more clue. Knuckle curve.
Knuckle curve. All right, go on. Keep this going.
Bert Hooten.
Bert Hooten.
Yeah, the knuckle curve. Milt Pappas.
You know, Bert Hooten, you always think of him with the Dodgers, not with the Cubs.
Right. Milt Pappas, good pitcher. Bill Bonham, good pitcher. Bill Hands was involved.
Well, with their staff the way it is, you got power guys in Pryor, Zambrano, and Kerry Wood when they're all healthy, and then a finesse guy and Greg Maddux. They have typically a very good defensive ball club on the infield. They don't throw a lot of pitches because they throw a lot of strikes. They get a lot of early outs and counts.
And a 2-out walk to Holiday. 3 walks in the game for Zambrano, but each time it's been with 2 outs. Wood and Maddux. Again, Kerry Wood getting closer to coming back. Greg Maddux threw a good ball game yesterday, but lost. Todd Green popped to first. His initial trip against Carlos Zambrano. Takes that pitch high, ball 1. there's some guys, George, you get a reading on the gun, they're 92, 93, 94. This guy, when you see the gun and you look at the pitches, it looks every bit of 95 plus.
Well, a lot of scouts write down easy heat because there's not a lot of body effort to get to that 97. You don't see a very violent follow through. Just nice, relaxed ball out of the hand, very easy. Hard slider down and away from him. See, that makes him so deceptive is the arm angles, the velocity, the pitches that he has, and the control he has of all of those pitches. Very strange oddity to have that when you're talking about a young kid as he is, not yet 24, as Drew mentioned earlier.
You know, he's a tough guy, I would think, to run against for two reasons. One, you saw the quick feet there. He's got a good move, so you can't stray too far from the bag. Secondly, as hard as he throws, he utilizes a slide step, George. He gets it to the plate quickly.
And of course, catchers love that.
Now he used the kick there because he's ahead 1-2. But when he threw the slider, George, he used the slide step.
Well, what a lot of people don't know, or maybe you just don't think of this part of it. If you have two outs, you're a power guy, you're comfortable with how you can go ahead and get the strikeout. A lot of times you won't use the slide step with the runner at first. You'll give up the stolen base because in your mind you can get the strikeout. So a lot of times they won't use the slide step.
Runner going, sliders down. Holiday will have the stolen base. Barrett kind of double clutched, getting the ball out of his glove.
Now that slider you just talked about allowed it. I mean, it's just Zambrano did not throw it for a strike. Holiday head down, run hard. So you look at this here, and it's tough to get it out of the glove more than anything else, and to get a grip on the baseball. That exchange so important for catchers as far as release and quickness.
4 out of 5 stealing bases this year for Matt Holliday. They wanted him to run more, and Green fouls it right into the glove of Barrett. So they can't cash in on the stolen base by Holliday. We're tied at 1, middle of 4, Wrigley Field in Chicago. Glad you're along. Bottom of the 4th inning, tied up at 1. 4 hits for the Cubs. The Rockies lone hit a double from Desi Relaford. This ball sharply hitting the hole for a base hit for Ramirez. The slumping Aramis Ramirez at 226 coming in. Let's take a look at our Affleck trivia question. Who was the last Cub other than Sammy Sosa to lead the National League in home runs? It's Derek Lee among the home run leaders right now in the National League. Burnett's on the left.
You may be a little surprised by who comes up.
Helton steps on the bag, tag play, and now they have Ramirez hung up. Helton with the great speed will run him down. Why are you looking at me?
Or the speed of Ramirez that's not as quick as Helton will run him down. And a nice play because all of a sudden you look up and Atkins fell asleep. He's got to get back because of the positioning of where Relaford was. So when he releases the ball to Helton, there's nobody back at shortstop to run him back. You see Atkins get there late. So watch when it comes in here. He looks up, nobody's here. You get the throw to Helton and looks up and there's nobody there. Helton just outruns him.
Too quickly gone. Todd Hollinsworth will step in. Todd until recently still made his home in Castle Rock. His wife is from the state of Illinois, so they're now living north of the city. But he said one day they may move back to Colorado. They really enjoyed it there. And Todd Helton will get another play. Turns into a 1-2-3 inning. We move to inning number 5 at Wrigley Field. A run apiece. Atkins, Jenny. Lights at Wrigley Field, but they still can only utilize them a certain number of dates a year.
18, and the difference here, the big question mark is you notice there's none in the outfield anywhere in this ballpark. No standards are up because the neighborhood obviously against lights here, and they worried about it structurally. So at times there's areas in this ballpark for night games down into the corners that are very dark because of the lighting situation, but the home plate infield area very well lit. Of course, the outfielders can pick up the baseball. you just don't see, one of the few ballparks you look up that has lights, even for 18 ball games, that there's no outfield standards.
That's in there also. 1-1 count on Garrett Atkins. Slider back up the middle. Nafee gets there, and he will not be able to throw out Atkins. I'll tell you something. Garrett Atkins, he's not a speed merchant, but he runs a little better than you think he does.
Well, the longer he gets going, the faster he gets there. In other words, his strides get much longer. Early out of the box, no, he's not very quick the first 3 or 4 steps, but as he starts to gain his momentum, then he has that chance. See, now watch those strides really expand at the end.
So the UCLA product with an infield hit, just the Rockies' second hit of the ball game. See what Jennings is doing here. You'd assume he'll be sacrificing. And he does his job. Derek Lee throws to Walker. Here's our Affleck trivia question and answer. Who was the last Cub other than Sammy Sosa to lead the National League in home runs? I think it's an old teammate of yours, George.
Yeah, you bet. Ryan Sandberg hit 40 in 1990. Hall of Famer. Good teammate. Good guy to have around, and a guy that the Phillies had given up on. More of a throw-in than anything in a trade. And Dallas Green, who had been with the Philadelphia Phillies as a manager and front office personnel, knew Sandberg and requested him in the trade, and they laughed and said, "You can have him." I wonder if they're laughing now.
Barmes, line drive, base hit to right. That will give the Rockies a lead. Coming to the plate is Atkins. That's manufacturing a run. Infield hit, sacrifice, and one of the game's hottest hitters the first couple of months of the season delivers him in Clint Barmes.
Boy, is that nice to see or not? The Rockies knocking in a couple of runs in this ball game. Relaford first, now Barmes. Taking a pitch to the outside part of the plate, inside out swing, moving the ball with a line drive to right field. You're not going to have a shot at Atkins at all. You only try to prevent Barmes from getting to second.
Relaford with one out. He drove in the first. That fastball's down. I know a guy who really appreciates Clint Barmes. It's that man, Dusty Baker. He's a player's manager. I mean, everybody appreciates the way Clint Barmes plays, but Dusty is not just the guy that focuses on his team and what his team's doing. He's a baseball fan, George, and he'll talk to anybody anytime about this game, and he likes Barmes.
If he watches Barmes play, then he wants to find out what kind of kid's this guy. And what's he made of? Because he wants to find out everything that he can about Clint Barmes, everything that what makes him tick as a player.
And this is a base hit for Relaford. Barmes will stop at second as Patterson was quick to the baseball. Another guy that was interested in Clint Barmes, the guy who just caught the ball when it was returned to the infield, Nafee Perez. He came up to me before the ball game and said, "I've been watching what this guy's doing. I heard he's a great kid."
I like what Nafee's doing right now. I mean, he's getting after Zambrano, and that's something Nafee always did in a Rocky uniform. He did when he was with the San Francisco Giants. He felt like he was a duck out of water in Kansas City. Did not like it at all there in a Royals uniform. But here in a Cub uniform, Dusty's giving him that leadership role once again.
Chance for the Rockies to really cash in. Helton at the plate takes a strike. 2 on, 1 out. The Rockies have a 2-1 lead. A rare lead away from Coors Field for Colorado. Good speed aboard. Barmes at second, Relaford at first, and this ball driven down the left field line, and it will slice foul. Since 1987, batting average with runners in scoring position, and again this goes all the way back to '87. Ichiro #1, and then Todd Helton 10 points better than his career average of .339. 0-2. That misses 1-2. Helton 3 for 14 in his career against Zambrano. Walked in the first, struck out in the third.
Now remember, they went away fastball on the outside corner to strike Helton out in his second at bat in the third. See if they go back out. Barrett slides to the outside.
Slider low.
Tried a backdoor slider. That shows the respect also of what you see where Michael Barrett's thinking is. He went to that outside corner. It's Helton, quite honestly, had a feeble swing at the fastball away. So then he tries to backdoor slider to outthink Todd Helton. Slider again at 79 miles an hour.
Todd always spends a lot of time reviewing tape. I'm sure he has indulged Mike Hamilton, the video coordinator, quite a bit in the last week. Scuffling with the swing. And he's gone again. Second time Zambrano has struck out Todd Helton, who is striking out by his standards an inordinate amount of time the last few days. Make sure you join us again tomorrow at high noon as the Rockies continue this series in Chicago against the Cubs. Again, noon, the Mountain Time Zone. Joe Kennedy against a fellow named Mark Pryor. Kennedy's won his last 2 starts. 2 gone, it'll be left to Wilson. Barmes at second, Relaford at first. 2-1 Colorado. And a hard strike at 93 miles an hour. Wilson 2 ground balls to Perez.
Good to see Bob Davidson back in the big leagues, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Guy that sided when one side of the umpires, lost his job, spent time in the Denver market as a radio broadcaster for a while. But when he got the opportunity to go back, he went to the lowest rung of baseball to show everybody that he truly wanted his job back.
Wilson comes through with a drive to left. Hollingsworth quickly with the baseball. Here's the throw to the plate. Cut off. Throw to third. Safe is Relaford on the flip there. Barmes scores to make it 3-1. Preston Wilson coming through with a 2-out RBI.
Would you like to see this or what? To be able to do this 2 outs, pick up your teammate Todd Helton, and Hollingsworth got to this ball in a hurry. The throw cut off by Ramirez, and he tries to soft toss to Nafi Perez, who was on the move to third to try to get Relaford. As the ball went away from him, look at that slide by Desi to the outfield side, evaded the tag of Nafi Perez. Great base running by Relaford.
Well, the Rockies getting today some 2-out hits, some hits with runners in scoring position, exactly what has eluded them for a while on the road. Rockies had gone 0 for their previous 29 coming into the ball game with a man in scoring position.
And a chance with Hop up there to catch a fastball up in the strike zone and really give the Rockies a chance to put this game away early against Zambrano. Give Jennings a little more breathing room.
Hop has played pepper with Derek Lee, the first baseman, his first 2 times up. Opposite field home run in Milwaukee. And he drives this ball to left, and it'll slice into the crowd.
Yeah, you always check the flags, and right now they're blowing from right field to left field. So any ball hit down the line with any kind of air under it's going to end up in the seats. But if you can hit a ball in left center in this ballpark with a wind direction today, you got a chance of getting it out of here.
Swung on and missed. Talked to Todd Hollingsworth before the ball game. Playing now in Chicago. He said, you know, it's a misnomer that this is such a great hitter's ballpark. And I said, is the ball flying yet? He said, no, not really. And George, you played here. You know, it's not till the summer months when it really gets warm that the ball jumps out of here. Otherwise, a lot of ground balls, you know, those are going to get put away. Slow infield.
Well, why do you think that the grass is high in this park? Because they cater to the sinker ball type pitchers more than they do fly ball pitchers. But around June 1st is when you start to get the strange weather where you have gusting winds out. Storms can come off of the lake late in the ball game, make it difficult.
Runner going, now the throw to the plate. Relaford is cut down. The Rockies try to delayed steal in a first and third situation, trying to quote-unquote steal a run, and it didn't work out. Barrett, a strong throw, and the return throw from the middle of the infield was right on the money to cut down Relaford. 3-1 Colorado. Slider in there for a strike to Michael Barrett as we begin the 5th inning. Colorado has taken a 3-1 lead. Preston Wilson coming through with a timely hit. Clint Barmes drove in the second run. And this is at Barmes. Clean hop, good throw, 1 out.
Yeah, one thing Jennings has been able to do also is get the ground ball outs.
Well, make sure you check out Tracy Ringolsby's column in the Rocky Mountain News as he covers the Rockies and Major League Baseball like no one else.
He's either sleeping, eating, or typing. One of the three.
Well, he's eating.
He's
Looks
eating
like
and he's typing.
Yeah,
So.
but he's not sleeping.
Not yet.
He looked wide awake.
By the way, the Cubs offense this year has relied on the long ball just like they did a year ago. 46.3% of their runs have come with the long ball, 87 of 188. Last year, they led the major leagues, 45.6%, 360 of the runs, by the way, of a home run out of the 789 scored.
Yeah, it's exactly the same as last year, 46 and 46% basically, and that goes back to what we were talking about last inning. You are going to hit balls out of here, but it's harder to manufacture runs. You're not going to get a lot of ground ball hits. Slowly hit, Relaford, short hop, will throw out Zambrano by a couple of strides, and there are 2 outs, and what now is becoming a story in this ball game, and we're happy to talk about it, is that Jason Jennings is inducing a lot of ground balls, and he has a 3-1 lead, and he was in desperate need of a strong performance.
I think part of it, Drew, is the fact that Bob Apodaca had him throw twice in between starts on back-to-back days. As a sinker ball pitcher with a tired arm, you have better control, a tired body, you slow things down, you don't run off of pitches, you stay on plane better, and it helps you keep your rhythm. And I think that's one of the things that's helped Jennings today. You haven't seen him spin off a lot of pitches, landing on the heel with a front heel and spin off. You've seen him stay pretty focused and stay on line and working ahead in the counts.
Neifi Perez 0 for 2. Neifi was 3 for 4 yesterday against Houston, drove in the only run the Cubs scored. He has stepped up after the injury to Nomar Garcia-Parra, playing every day at shortstop. You know you're going to get the great glove work, and Neifi's hitting better than he has in a few seasons. Released by the Giants last year, he's found a home here in Chicago. Still always checks the box scores of the Rockies. He says, I'll always be a Rockies fan.
I think that's a common thing with players, that when you get traded away, you always check on the guys that you played with, particularly his fondness of Helton. The two of them had a close bond. Clint Barmes has a lot of fans here, so do the Rockies, obviously.
Barmes from nearby Indiana, same with J.D. Klosser. That misses. 3-2 on Perez.
51st pitch for Jennings. That tells you also that he's back inside of the strike zone more, and a lot of contact early. Look at this, only 17 balls. Are you kidding me, for Jason Jennings through 4 2/3 innings?
What a pickup by Helton as he tags the bag. A 1-2-3 fifth. 52 pitches through 5 innings. Jason Jennings hasn't had one of those in a long time. 3-1 Colorado. It's all good right now. Is brought to you by Jeep. If it's not trail rated, it's not a Jeep. By Safeway. Pick up your Safeway Read It calendar today. And by Bank One, home of maximum strength checking. Well, Brad Hopp will get a fresh count. He was up at the plate when the Rockies tried to steal home last inning in a 1st and 3rd situation. Slider nibbles on the outside corner for a strike. 1-1. A lot of players, let's say, get used to the consistent day games. Really like it, especially if you have a family. George, you oftentimes get to have dinner with your family, which is unusual in this sport.
Well, the nice part about it is the fact that you are able to go home. You know, you get up at 8 o'clock in the morning. Batting practice starts at 10:20 for a 1:20 game. Pitchers hit. Come back out, play the game, and if you live in the downtown area, you can get home. I lived at Lake Point Towers, which was really nice, comfortable, about 10 minutes from the ballpark. You could get there in a hurry. 5 o'clock, 5:30, have a normal dinner, relax, go out, ride around in the carriage. I know my 2 oldest boys at the time when I was here with the Cubs, Matt and Brian, they look forward to coming to Chicago and getting in the carriage, renting the scooters, riding around downtown. It was a blast.
On the ground to Ramirez at 3rd. He throws out Hop, 1 gone. That'll bring Holiday to the plate. 0 for 1 and a walk. And a tougher chance for Ramirez. He'll throw out Holiday. Stayed with it nicely, the former Pittsburgh Pirate.
Well, you know what? It's just you either stay there and take it or try to olay this ball and let it go into the outfield. I mean, he stays right in front of the ball and just tries to come up with it. He did a nice job of it.
You know what? He's in much better shape now than his Pirate days.
Oh, no question. Looks a lot thinner, more put together in the upper body. You know, the one other thing, we talked an awful lot, this fly ball, and we'll get back to it. I'll get back to this in the infield in just a few minutes.
Ramirez with a little help from Derek Lee. Green pops out. Quick inning for Zambrano. With George Frazier and Tim Ring, I'm Drew Goodman. 3-1. The Rockies leading the Cubs. Rockies will play 4 here in Chicago and then return home and immediately take on the St. Louis Cardinals beginning Monday night. Todd Walker, and a first pitch on the outside corner for a strike. Walker, an RBI single in the 3rd. Cubs in the midst of 11 straight against the National League West. 2-4 so far against the West this year. Last year they went 15-15 playing the National League West. Some notable changes for the Cubs as they pursue the postseason again this year. Obviously, Sammy no longer in right field. This is popped up shallow left field. Barmas going out. He'll have it. Moises Alou is gone on to San Francisco, where he's playing for his dad. And no more Garcia Parra. Should be at short, but he's hurt. He'll be out till well after the All-Star break. Rockies have played good defense in this ball game, and a lot of it has involved the first baseman Todd Helton. That turned into a double play. And then a nice pickup on Neifi Perez. Derek Lee swings at the first pitch and he pops it up. Barmas will have another chance. 2 outs. This game flying.
What do you think about Clint Barmas coming home, growing up in Indiana? A huge Cub fan, seeing the ballpark. Fans are here, mom and dad, to watch him play, to walk out on the grass of Wrigley Field, the ivy, the fans. It's got to be a great treat for Clint Barmas.
The whole thing's been a treat. It's been fantasy land. It's been Disneyland. It's been whatever you want to call it for Clint Barmas. I mean, every day he opens the newspaper and there's USA Today running stories about him. You can open up any paper in America and check the National League standings. You look at leading hitters, he's either at the top or among the top 3 or 4.
Yeah, it's interesting.
With guys that he grew up watching, pretty much.
Absolutely, and just along those same lines, Jason Jennings as a starter comes out early a lot of times and sits in the dugout to get your mental thoughts going in the direction you need them to. And I happened to be in the dugout for the pregame show today when he walked out, and he sat down and he says, you know, you never realize, because he said every day in college when I'd get out of class, I'd go watch WGN and the Cubs before baseball practice. And he said, here I am in Wrigley Field, and he said, man, it goes by fast. He said, I try to enjoy it, appreciate the fact of where I am and what I'm trying to accomplish. Well, he's doing a great job today.
Catch Matt Holliday and the Rockies on FSN Rocky Mountain.
Coors Light game reset. The Rockies in a 1-1 game took the lead. Clint Barmes with a single driving in Garrett Atkins, and then Preston Wilson, a 2-out single to bring Clint Barmes home. 3-1 is where we stand. Carlos Zambrano in the top of the 7th inning to face Atkins, Jennings, and Barmes. Well, the Chicago Cubs have struggled in a couple of areas this year, and that's why they're a couple of games south of 500. Their bullpen until recently had been a mess, particularly late in games.
Yeah, they only been successful 9 of 17 save opportunities, 52%. That's not good.
And the other area that has reared its head lately on the negative side has been lack of hitting. They haven't produced. I mean, the one consistent guy in their lineup has been Derek Lee. Corey Patterson has hit the long ball a little bit, has a decent average. Nafi Perez has swung the bat. Burnitz has swung the bat okay, but they haven't really had 3 or 4 players hot at the same time. They've played a lot of low-scoring games. I mean, Zambrano is pitching a very sound baseball game, obviously, but he trails 3-1. Jennings takes a strike. Sacrifice last time up for Jason. Rockies have 5 hits. 4 came in the 5th inning when they scored a pair. Zambrano in his last outing, give you an idea of how it's gone for the Cubs, goes 7 innings of shutout baseball. He gave up 1 hit, a single of Paul Konerko in the 6th inning. Zambrano was done after 7 innings. It was a ball game, eventually won by the White Sox 5-3.
Yeah, he only walked 3 in that game. He struck out 8. It was terrific. But then being played in this ballpark, they had to pinch hit for him. But just think of the dominance that he had.
You like to think if you throw 1-hit shutout baseball for 7 innings, either you're going to get the win or at the very least your team will get the win.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
One-two, 94-mile-an-hour heat. Fans Jason Jennings, 2 gone, and that'll bring Barmes to the plate. 5th strikeout in the ball game for Carlos Zambrano, who's 10th in the National League in that department. The guy the Rockies will face tomorrow, Mark Pryor, is up there in strikeouts per 9 innings. Barmes 1 for 2 and a walk. The average at 344 down the right field line, and this is going to reach the seats. Barmes uses one of the lighter bats you will see. You know, talk about in college guys use 34. It used to be they'd use 34-29. You can't do that anymore. It's got to be minimum 3 ounces between, so you go 34-31. Barmes will have that bat down in the 30-ounce range, and some are even a little bit beneath that at 33, 33 and a half, 34 inches. Thin handles. The meat's in the barrel as it should be. 0-2, fouls it back. The trend away from really heavy bats has continued in baseball.
Well, you're big, strong guys. A lot of those guys will jump on a little heavier bat, like a Matt Holliday occasionally. He's a big guy that can swing it. But as guys have obviously seen more power pitching going on, it's a little more difficult to catch up. Through the 7th inning, that's the 110th pitch for Zambrano, and compared to 61 for Jason Jennings.
Rockies lead it 3-1, stretch time at Wrigley. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning at Wrigley Field on the north side of Chicago. Cliff Bartosh is throwing in the bullpen. It is 3-1, check swing, ground ball. Todd Helton will tag the bag. Ramirez is gone on the 62nd pitch for Jason Jennings. He has not walked a batter, 43 strikes and 19 balls.
How about that, huh? 19 balls, and you're in the 7th inning. Jason Jennings. Is this the same guy we've been watching?
Not lately.
This is the Rookie of the Year, Jason Jennings. Not afraid to pound the ball inside. Great command of the slider away.
Corey Patterson steps in, 1 for 2. His one was a bunt single. 12 ground ball outs for Jennings, 11 ground ball outs induced by Carlos Zambrano. It's been a well-pitched game, and the Rockies have created 3 runs, thus a 2-run lead. Helton has been extremely busy. I mean, weak ground ball after weak ground ball. I mean, these aren't smashes in the infield. These are just rolled over.
5 hits given up for Jennings in the ball game. 3 of those came in the 3rd inning. The Cubs were able to put together a run. Leadoff double by Michael Barrett, driven in by Todd Walker.
Helton has fielded 8 ground balls in the game. 2 outs, Hollingsworth up. This may be a Randy Jones special.
Oh man, Randy Jones, Rick Russell, 1 hour and 15 minutes, 1-0. What a ball game that was.
I rarely believe what I hear in talk radio, but yesterday as we drove down from Milwaukee, we were listening to some talk radio, and a caller called a talk show, naturally in Chicago, who's complaining about the Cubs. He said, all they do is swing at the first pitch. And I said, you know, it's probably from his perspective. But you know what? All they've done today is swing at the first pitch.
And a lot of ground ball outs. Jennings struggling right now. Fell behind 3-0. One of the few times he's done that.
Yeah, he has not come close to walking a batter. Off the top of my head, I think it's just the second 3-ball count he's had today. And that misses. So Hollingsworth with 2 outs, the first pass of the game for Jason Jennings. Don't even think he's getting tired. His pitch count in the mid-60s. Michael Barrett, 1 for 2, a double. That came in the 3rd inning. Barrett has scored the only run for Chicago. Cubs began play today, 8 games out, 3rd place in the National League Central. Everybody chasing the Cardinals. Jason Du Bois is on deck to pinch hit for Zambrano. If Barrett reaches.
Well, for Jennings now, you've got a 2-run lead. Don't make a mistake inside the plate. Don't worry about your runner at first base. Get the hitter. There's 2 outs. 0-2 count. You got 4 swipes at him to get him.
There's Du Bois on deck. Getting a lot of time in left field.
Too good a pitch. You got a guy with power at the plate. You juiced it a little bit at 92. Zambrano, 7 innings again, drew just 3 runs.
And again, it's the first time since 1972 that the Cubs have had 7 straight starters go at least 7 innings. And I would think he'll go out there for the, well, he may not at 110 pitches, actually. Dusty Baker probably will go to the bullpen either way. I say either way because if Barrett makes an out, there's no need for.
Well, you mentioned the pitch count previously that he's done. I mean, he's been in the 130s before. I don't know if he'd send him back out. He had a pretty easy inning, a previous inning, 3 up, 3 down. He's retired 6 in a row. Zambrano.
Guy's celebrating one of the great moments of his life.
You know what? Cubs fan catch a foul ball. It's like the 3rd out in the 9th inning of a World Series.
Some Cub fans.
They all high-fiving, celebrating.
Some Cub fans.
There's one guy named Bartman is not too good or proud of that. I don't think he lives in Illinois anymore.
That's a base hit. 2 on. So the Cubs will go to their bench. Bob Apodaca will skip out to the mound.
Buying time for Jay Watasic here in the 7th with the lead. 1st and 2nd. Young power hitter coming up to the plate. There's Watasic throwing down in the bullpen. He's trying to get it loose. This is a veteran guy that knows how to warm up, knows what his job is in the 8th inning. 14 strikeouts, 13 in the 3rd innings. The earned run average at 2.70. He's already had thrown a 4-seamer, a couple of sliders. Now you throw that sinker, turn around and tell Rick Matthews you're ready. Bob Davidson knows what's going on. A veteran umpire. Allow your pitching coach to buy a little bit of time. Said it earlier. Good to see him putting a mask over that face once again in the big leagues. Bob Davidson.
You bet. So Du Bois will be the pinch hitter. When the Cubs and White Sox got together last weekend, the White Sox took 2 of 3 here at Wrigley. The lone game won by the Cubs. Du Bois hit a 3-run game-winning homer. Riding a 5-game hitting streak.
This is something Jennings needs to work through. You had a 2-run lead, 7th inning. You've had a low pitch count. You had an easy ball game. 0 in, grind it out. Take the attitude that they're not going to score. I'm not going to let something bad happen versus saying what's going to happen next. Obviously something changed in the middle of the running game from Todd Green with runners at 1st and 2nd. Not a lot of speed at 1st, and Michael Barrett, the throw may not go to 3rd, it may go to 2nd base. Try to get the 2nd runner versus the lead runner.
2 balls and a strike.
I'd be surprised though if Dusty put him in motion. I really would. This early in the count, maybe later.
Ground ball to 2nd. Relaford up with it cleanly, and that's all for the Cubs. They leave 2 on. There was a walk and a hit. We move to inning number 8. 3-1 Colorado. The Cubs 3-1. Let's check in again with Tim Ring. Tim.
Well, Drew, I am sitting in the exact spot of one of the most, maybe perhaps the most infamous moment in Chicago Cubs history, where with the Cubs 5 outs away from the World Series, Steve Bartman got his hand all over a pop fly off the bat of Luis Castillo, took it out of Moises Alou's glove, and the rest is Cub history. Bartman has been on the lam ever since. Nobody's heard or seen him since that night. As Cub fans died, a dream died hard, right? But you know what, Drew? When you don't win a World Series since 1908, you're going to leave a trail of tears. In 1969, the Cubs had a double-figure game lead to the Mets. only to see that wash away. And then in 1984, up 2-0 against the Padres in a best-of-5 in the NLCS. If I had the chance to ask any Cub who was on that team what happened, boy, that would be quite the treat.
Well, once you ask me, I think I was there in '84, buddy. You got to bring it up again. Come on. Leon Durham and Buckner, they all had it, right? What's the deal?
He was Bill Buckner before Bill Buckner was Bill Buckner.
You're right.
But boy, the debate rages on about Steve Bartman's role in this very seat here a couple of years ago.
I want to tell you what, I think it's an absolute cop-out and a disgrace that guy was blamed for it. The ball goes up in the air. As a fan, like anybody else, you look up. You don't look. He's not in the field of play. Right. He's not looking around to see who's coming toward him. And if memory serves me correctly, there was a ground ball to shortstop on the very next play that could have gotten him out of the inning, and Gonzalez didn't handle it.
Alex Gonzalez dropped the ball. According to those in the ballpark, the air was sucked out of the life was sucked out of the ballpark after that play. The Cubs fell apart. Mark Pryor fell apart. Moises Alou fell apart after the Bartman play. So really, there was a plenty of blame to go around, though, Drew. You are right.
Helton hits into a 3-6-3 double play. Tim, thanks for that report after the walk to Relaford.
Two pretty good fielding first basemen in this ball game. Todd Helton, Derek Lee fielded on the right side. A good feed to Napey Perez. Napey hesitated to allow Bartosh to get there to cover the bag.
Helton 2 for his last 34 over his last 10 games. I can't remember, honestly, a run like that for Helton in his career.
I have never seen him in this type of a funk. I mean, normally he would get a blue pit to left, or maybe off the end of the bat over first base. He hasn't had the luck that he's needed.
This ball tomahawk to left field and deep. It's got a chance to get out, way back and out of here, out onto the street. Preston Wilson, for the 8th time in his career, has gone deep at Wrigley Field. And it's 4-1 Colorado.
Second RBI of the ball game for Preston Wilson. And he didn't miss anything there, I can tell you that. When that ball was hit, you looked at Hollingsworth's reaction as he went back to try to watch the flight of the baseball. Boy, you like to see it. Toss of the bat and a soft jog around the bases. See, look at Hollingsworth. He's looking up. That cleared everything.
Out on the Waveland, it's 4-1 Colorado. The ball will always eventually make its way back in, even if it goes over the bleachers. It's one of the grand traditions here at Wrigley Field.
And nobody here, the 38,000, have any idea who threw the ball back, but he's getting a round of applause for the toss back. And Wilson happy right now the way Jennings has pitched.
And that guy will have a story he'll savor for the rest of his life. Yeah, I was walking down Waveland one day, saw a baseball, and the crowd said throw it back. It wasn't hit by a Cubby, and back it went. 2-0 to Hop. That's away. 3-0. Crowd of 38,393 in the park. Probably about 38,000 or so around the park. Basically another sellout at Wrigley Field. Ball 4 to Hop.
Well, you look down where that ball landed down in left field, but look down this street. The ball landed, and lock it up there for me if you would, please, and hold it. The ball landed over here that Wilson hit, but the one that Dave Kingman hit, went so far down the street, it cleared all these cars down below and everything. It landed by a lady's porch almost a block away.
Bartosh has been removed. Pitching change. We'll tell you about when we come back. 4-1 Rockies. Matt Holliday steps in against Joe Borowski, who used to be the closer for the Cubs. Maybe he will be again before this season's over. This is just his second appearance since coming off the disabled list. And that pitch is high. Borowski had a broken wrist got hit by a line drive in spring training. Made his first appearance last weekend against the White Sox. In fact, before the ball game, Dusty Baker was saying he wanted to try to find a way to work Borowski in. Dempster is acting as a closer right now. And that pitch is fouled off. Runner at first base is Brad Hopp. The Rockies lead it 4-1.
And not to go along with the wrist injury, the year 04 shoulder problems prevented him from pitching, being a part of what the Cubs needed after a successful job of closing and signing a 3-year contract with the Cubs.
Converted 44 of 54 save opportunities with the Cubs, but he's been banged up. LaTroy Hawkins, who they picked up from Minnesota and figured they'd have a great 8-9 combination, 8th inning, 9th inning combination. Hawkins much better in the setup role than he is as a closer, and they've now backed him off. George, he's more in middle relief these days.
Well, the job that he did trying to close ball games, he was horrendous, and they got him out of that position, hoping to bring him back gradually, just like Borowski, to get back to where they were in 03, where you have that type of a good setup man to hand the ball over to your closer.
Right now what they're doing is Dempster's closing games, the former starter. He's got a big arm.
Well,
Michael Wirtz is acting as the setup man in the 8th inning, and they're kind of matching up with the lefties prior to that.
The only concern about Dempster's back-to-back days, the arm, whether it will respond to it or not. He's got nasty stuff. He's got closer stuff. The biggest thing about Borowski, he never was overpowering. I mean, 95 to 96, like you see with a Gagne or a Smoltz. But he was a strike thrower, and he was a guy that would attack you with a hard slider down and away, get a lot of ground ball outs. He didn't walk people, which managers, if you get closers starting to walk, and you can ask Bobby Cox about it with Kolb in Atlanta. It's very frustrating when you step one run and you walk a leadoff man to start the 9th, or create your own messes by not allowing your defense to work, and then you're behind the 8 ball.
Nasty stuff is great, but for me, the prerequisite to pitching in the 9th inning, you have got to have command. You cannot be a guy that puts people on. Ramirez will go the short way to Walker. Hopp is out there on the force. The Rockies add to their lead in the top of the 8th. Preston Wilson with his 5th home run of the year out on a Waveland Avenue, and it's Colorado 4, the Cubs 1. Brought to you by Rico. How well do you print, copy, scan, fax? How well do you share? By Coors Light, the world's coldest tasting beer. And by Chrysler, inspiration comes standard. Jason Jennings has the first pitch in there in the bottom of the 8th to Neifi Perez, 0-1. And this ball is fouled straight back quickly. 0-2 on Perez, who's 0 for 3 against Jennings in the ball game. A Cubs team that a year ago won 89 games, but it didn't get them anywhere. It was 16 out in the Central because St. Louis won 105, and they couldn't finish strong enough to be a factor in the wild card. That's a pitch that's way too good, 0-2. And it's whacked to right for a base hit for Perez. Todd Walker 1 for 3 in the game. Jay Witasic is for a while. I'm sure he's ready. But here's the deal. This is not your ordinary 8th inning situation where you go, well, the pitcher's probably 105 pitches. Looks like he's fatiguing. His pitch count is way down, George.
It's very down, but again, he's not in familiar territory. 1 complete game this year for Jennings. You see it at 84, only 29 balls thrown in 7+ innings. For Jason Jennings, that is outstanding. Tosic is ready. You know, a lot of veteran guys figure it out. You get loose, you stand and watch. You may throw 1 or 2 more hard sinkers to keep your rhythm. That's it.
I like Jennings in there right now for a couple of reasons. One, not only the pitch count down, but as the arm fatigues, it's 3-0. You're going to get more sink on the ball. This guy has produced a great number of ground balls today. And you have a chance for 2, but you got to get it over the plate.
Well, that's the only concern. If you start to walk people, you're not able to throw strikes. That's ball 4.
And now there's got to be concern.
Well, you look at Watasic, you look at the matchups, what he has done against Lee. Lee 1 for 6 lifetime, and they're not going to give the best power hitter that they have, RBI man.
Rockies leading 4-1. Jason Jennings goes 7+ innings. There are 2 on, however, nobody out. And one of the leading hitters in baseball, not only average-wise, but home run and RBI-wise this year. Derek Lee's at the plate.
2 ways to attack the guy the size of Lee. That slider's down and away, fastball in above his hand. Do not allow him to extend like that.
Yep, with Tosic jammed him. Atkins calling for it. He makes the catch. That is a huge out.
Well, on Monday against the Brewers, came into a tight ball game there with the runners at first and second and only 1 out. He was able to strike out Wes Helms, and then the fly ball to center field ended it. And again, to keep the lead where it was, give the Rockies that opportunity to come back. He's asked to do it again here at Wrigley Field with nobody out. He's gotten Derek Lee and has done a nice job with that. The overall numbers, a 12th appearance. 1 hole, 270 earned run average, 13 1/3, 14 punch outs. Has not allowed a run and earned run in his last 10 innings. He has 12 strikeouts over that span. Jason Jennings today, 13 ground ball outs, a couple of walks, a couple of strikeouts, just 2 fly ball outs. 86 pitches total.
Great to see Jennings back on track. 0-1 on Burnitz, a guy with tremendous power. 2 for 10 in his career against Watasic. That's in there also. 0-2.
Now, as hitters get in grooves, relief pitchers get in grooves, where you can place whatever you want when you want. That backdoor slider, throw him perfectly for a strike to make it 0-2.
Ground ball slowly right side. Relaford thought about going to second. Elected to make sure he got an out. So the tying run at second base, or excuse me, it's 4-1. I keep forgetting about Preston Wilson's home run. 2 move up. There are 2 outs. And Ramirez coming up 1 for 3.
What I liked about Watasic, the ball hit to the right side. Desi gave that look. Watasic pointing and yelling, "Let's get the out." Smart move, playing as a general a little bit in the middle of the field as a pitcher. Ramirez 0 for 2 lifetime versus Watasic.
On the outside corner at 94, Watasic working on 10 2/3 of scoreless baseball over 9 appearances. During that time, he struck out a dozen. Hard hit ball right at Todd Helton. And Todd Helton tags the bag. Watasic does his job again. 8 completed Wrigley Field on a north. 4-1 Colorado as we move to the top of the 9th inning. Our Gatorade player of the game at this point has got to go to Jason Jennings. 7+. He gave up just 1 run. He walked a couple later in the ball game, struck out a couple. Had the sinker ball going today, George.
Yes, he did. Outstanding. What we mentioned earlier, 13 ground outs. What he accomplished.
Todd Green just goes deep. First pitch of the inning. Green rips one out of the ballpark to make it 5-1. His 4th jack of the year.
Once again, their bullpen failing to do its job. Bartosh, the home run to Wilson. Now this home run by Todd Green. to stake the Rockies to a 5-1 lead. Fastball looked like it just hung right out over the plate, and it allowed Green to extend, maybe a little cutter, slider, but whatever, it had a little velocity to it. Green stayed right on it. Boy, you like seeing the high fives. A ball club to come in that had scuffled so poorly up in Milwaukee, where you just couldn't produce runs in tight situations. To put 5 on the board, well-pitched ball game, played defensively. This club played very well today. Think of the help play and the rundown. I mean, there's been some balls caught. The way you want to see games progress and played.
In the air, left center and deep. Hollinsworth going back, and at the wall, he makes the catch, or maybe a step in front of it as Atkins gives it a free ride. Pinch hitter for Witasic will be Corey Sullivan. We were talking about the talk shows a couple innings ago, George. They will be a buzz. The Rockies hold on and win this one, because naturally when Colorado comes to town and they look at the overall record, then they look at the road record.
It's a homecoming game.
That's what people are saying. And you have Carlos Zambrano going against Jason Jennings, who's been struggling. They may not like the result.
Corey Sullivan 2 for 10 as a pinch hitter this year. One of those hits, a home run.
In Pittsburgh, yeah.
In front of his family, former teammates in high school.
Derek Lee to Borowski, and that's 2 outs.
Brian Fuentes warming up to pitch the 9th. He struck out the side yesterday in the 8th in Milwaukee, but that was an 11-1 ball game.
There's Fuentes. Barmes hits it deep in the hole to Perez, and he does not handle it.
Right now, Cub fans, regardless of what you do during the course of this ball game, you will hear a lot of boos right in front of that ball. Nafy just didn't stay down on it.
I'm telling you, you may not think that Barmes had anything to do with that, but his speed did have something to do with it, because Nafy's thinking, I have to make a quick transition to get the ball over there. And he didn't field it cleanly, obviously.
Well, that's one thing about young players. You don't see a lot of Cadillac jog up the first baseline when a ball's hit. Barmes is going to turn it up the line. And then see, he didn't even look to see if Nafy caught the ball till he heard the reaction of the crowd.
Nor should he.
And that is good.
Get up the line. Said it countless times. So many others have said it countless times. It's not that hard to sprint 4 times. Barmes does it every time. Just the 4th error on Perez this year. Relaford takes a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Cubs in the bottom of the 9th will have Patterson, Hollinsworth, and Barrett scheduled 6, 7, and 8 in their order. Runner going, and a stolen base. He stayed on the bag. Barmes, is he okay though? Oh man, if he got hurt stealing a bag here, up 5-1, that'd be a disaster.
A lot of times you may have to put the brakes on the youngster. Slow him down a little bit. Slid hard over that bag, goes so hard in that bag, Shakey's hits, and I'm all right. Watch the force that happens when he hits this bag and skips over the top of it to try to hang on.
I got to
grab that ankle. Yeah, it's the ankle that see on that lead right there. See how it turned right at the soon as the instant, and then afterwards the cleat hung in this hard surface and just popped and rolled it a little right there, right at the end. See right there on the left ankle.
Yeah, he immediately told Keith Duggar, "I'm all right." Two and two on Relaford. Desi's had a nice ball game. 2 for 3 and a walk. He's driven in a run. The Rockies' first run with a double. He continues to hit on the road. He's got the average above 300 away from Coors Field.
Let's go. Well, here's another look at this slide by Barmison. Look at the left ankle and see it right here. Is the left foot right there? See, right here, you see him roll it over. Not good. Not able to stay in the ball game, walk it off. It'll be a little stiff. Ice tomorrow, and he'll say, "Let's play through."
This ball hit with authority. Burnett's going back, still going back, and he'll make the catch right in front of the ivy. Rockies add to their total. Todd Green leading off the ninth. Hits one in the seats in left center. Bank One game summary as we move to the bottom of the ninth inning. The Rockies 5, the Cubs 1. Wilson has a home run and a couple of hits today, including 2 ribbies. Desi Relaford, a couple of hits, a walk. Todd Green has gone deep. Jason Jennings was terrific for 7+. Jay Witasic got out of a minor jam in the 8th. And Brian Fuentes will try to nail down the final 3 outs.
The overall numbers on Brian Fuentes, the strikeouts have started to climb, the walks declining. It's 2 for 2 at save opportunities since moving into the closer's role. 27th appearance for Brian Fuentes.
His first subject, Corey Patterson.
Very aggressive in his outing yesterday, just attacked the strike zone with his fastball and his slider.
And it's 0-2 on Patterson. Dusty Baker will go to his bench and go to Jerry Hairston, a pinch hit for Todd Hollinsworth.
It's been a nice surprise for their ball club. Jerry Hairston has been.
They used to have Patterson hitting leadoff, George. He's more comfortable down on the lineup. He's going to be a decent RBI guy also, because don't be fooled, he's 5'9", 180, 185. He's very strong.
Well, and he has stated he would be much more comfortable down in the lineup hitting the 6th spot. That's a play Desi needs to make. A play he will make 99% of the time. Ball hit over into the hole at second base. Relaford got a great break on the ball. He rolled up the arm, didn't finish it off. Gives you an indication right here from the high position of the camera that play that he got there plenty of time to get the baseball. A base hit awarded to Patterson.
So Jerry Hairston Jr. steps in. Dad played a number of years with the White Sox. Of course, Jerry grew up in the Chicago area. Third generation major leaguer. Like his granddad, was the first African American to play for the White Sox. Brother Scott plays for Arizona. Could be two. Desi had a little trouble getting the ball out of his glove, so one out. Hairston trades places with Patterson. Might have been tough to turn two there. Ball was not hit that hard.
Well, and really, you don't give yourself an opportunity if you don't get it out of the glove. But as he started to make that transition to switch, just hung up in the webbing of the glove. That happens. What you like to see is as soon as you made the ball, didn't make the play on the hold, ball hit right back at you again to give you an opportunity again.
Barrett takes the ball. Jose Macias will be the next pinch hitter if necessary for Baker. And Fuentes hits Barrett, 2 on.
Well, the thing that you don't want to do, obviously, is put base runners on with a 4-run lead. And you missed the target of Todd Green. You can see how far he had to move and jump to try to catch the baseball. That'd be a strike for him. Just like yesterday in an 11-1 ball game, it's no different. Go right at your hitters.
Like that at 93 miles an hour.
Amazing how these fans never give up, although a lot have left the ballpark in the areas behind home plate, the third base line. It's still let's go Cubs in the 9th, down 4 with a couple of runners up.
I tell you what, you say some people have left, not many. I mean, I know a lot of parks, 5-1, place is basically empty. One play, that's the first. 2 gone. Rockies need 1 more and they can celebrate a rare road win. I mean, this place, the bleachers, just about everywhere else. There was an announced crowd of 38,000 and 300 some odd. And they're mostly still here, hoping, even with 2 on and 2 outs in the 9th, down 4 runs, a miracle could occur. Mayfield flip around and hit from the right side. He's 1 for 4 in the game.
And from the right side this year, Perez, with only 25 at bats, has hit .280.
Strike 1 on Perez. They've often talked about it this year. The Rockies have infrequently played well in all facets of the game, offensively, defensively, pitching. You could add some subcategories to that. Timely hitting. Today they've got timely hitting. They've gotten a little long ball. They got outstanding starting pitching with Tosick in the 8th inning. When Jennings had put 2 on with nobody out. Boom, 1, 2, 3 after Jay came in. Defense has been sound throughout. And lo and behold, you have a 5-1 lead late. Funny how that works.
It all starts with the guys on that little bump at the start of a ball game. Jason Jennings pitched brilliantly. shortened the game up. What was that?
Wow, nobody went and got the baseball.
You got it. That's a bad play on Fuentes to recognize where the baseball is. And I don't understand the selection of the pitch to try to come inside. If you feel uncomfortable today, as he did earlier when he hit Michael Barrett, to come inside with a fastball, I mean, that ball's not aimed for Neifi Perez, but it went all the way behind him. Fuentes looked off to see where the runner was, more so than to where to find the baseball first. You've got to direct where the ball is. Why did he think Todd Green could go get that ball and get it back to him in time?
To Atkins, he'll throw to first. That's the ball game. So Brian Fuentes ends up giving up a run. The final 5-2. Jason Jennings gets his second win of the year. The Rockies pick off just their fourth road win of the year. And Colorado has quieted a near sellout crowd on the north side of Chicago with a 5-2 win over the lovable Cubbies. Todd Green, solid ball game. He hit a home run, his fourth of the year. Preston Wilson hit his fifth of the year. And the Rockies finally hit early in the game with runners in scoring position. And again, they win it 5-2 in the opening game of a four-game set against the Chicago Cubs, the Rockies' lone visit to Wrigley Field this year. Well, George, other than the little hiccup there we just witnessed, they were very sound in all areas.
Yes, they were. And again, I mentioned earlier in that ninth inning that it all starts on the hill, and that's where Jason Jennings set the tone of this ball game. And I think with Desi Relaford coming through with a base hit early to get a little point on the board early, to give a little breathing room to Jason Jennings, to set a little bit more precedence for the ball club, attitude-wise, of what you would be able to do. And I think that was a huge key for this ball club's success.
And the Rockies break the string of one-run games. Their offense had produced just one run in each of the last three games. They win at 5-2 today. Jason Jennings got it all rolling. He's down on the field with Tim Ring. Tim?
All right, Drew, thank you very much. Jason, 7 strong today. In light of recent outings, how critical was this for you personally today?
It was critical personally and team-wise. You know, we've been struggling as of late. You know, offense came through against, probably their best pitcher, top two for sure. So to win the first game of the series against a guy like Zambrano, I think it's a big step for us. Hopefully we can carry the momentum in the rest of the series.
Jason, difference for you today? I mean, was it something you picked up on film mechanically? Was it between the ears? What was the difference?
More between the ears, I think. I just took a step back, tried to relax out there, have a little fun. I mean, a sunny day at Wrigley Field, it's hard not to have fun, and this makes it a little bit more better.
Yeah, I know you would need a win if you were playing on the moon, but I would imagine, you come out here in a day game, the tradition laden ballpark like Wrigley Field makes it even more special.
Definitely. We needed a win no matter where it was, but it's a little sweeter here.
Jason, before I let you go, the difference of between home and away, what is going on? I mean, is there anything you put your finger on? I mean, it's still the same game. What is the difference for this team?
Same game. I think we just press a little bit more. We know our history. Everybody knows our history on the road, and I think we just press as a team. We try too hard to overcome that past history, and instead of just relaxing, playing ball like we do at home.
All right, Jason, congratulations. Good outing today. Jason Jennings, for appearing on the Rockies postgame show, receives a handshake from Tim Ring. Drew, you know what? Jason Jennings, the only Rocky pitcher to get a win at Wrigley Field last year. Hopefully that will not be the case again this year.
No, it's a good start, though, to the series, obviously. The Rockies' last road win came in Pittsburgh on Sunday. They go to Milwaukee, a team that's, doing a little bit better than they did a year ago, and they really don't compete offensively. I think the key early, not only Jennings, that's obvious, but the fact that they got a couple of clutch hits, George.
Yeah, that too. But I mean, 13 ground ball outs by Jennings, 86 pitches in a ball game where you don't anticipate this on a guy struggling. People felt they had a feeling in this ball game that Jennings would be successful early, and he was. I think defense played a role. The combination of Helton and Jennings, when they were able to get a strikeout, which there was only 2 in the ball game for Jennings today. I thought that was a key. I thought Todd Helton's play. Again, when you have 13 ground ball outs and you're pounding the strike zone, as Jennings did today, you think about this, 19 balls thrown through 7 innings by Jason Jennings. Your defense is up on its toes. It's ready to play baseball. Your offense picks up because you say, hey, we're in a ball game. We got a chance for a W out on the road where they hadn't won. Desi gets the first.